1969. The End of the Beatles. John Lennon Remembers. Written by Geoffrey Giuliano. Narrated by Geoffrey Giuliano.
You have to ask yourself how much of John Lennon's spectacular work was a concomitant mixture of acid, meditation, money, fame, power, ego, Yoko, guilt, insanity, grief, whimsy, etc., and how much was the uncluttered imprint of his obviously prominent muse. How many artists have been able to move through so many distinct phases in their work? If you look back to Love Me Do, it's a very long way forward to Mr. Kite, and even longer to the bare-boned simplicity of songs like Imagined and Love. With Double Fantasy and the posthumously released Milk and Honey, he seemed to start the machine all over again. One of the great things about Lennon's eclectic persona was the delightful tangle of the many component parts that made up his frankly rather fragmented, though always engrossing, super-personality. When you go down the list of the great artists of the last 100 years, Picasso was always Picasso, with his boxy images of womankind with their bright, burning eyes. Dolly, too, was certainly always Dolly. Magritte, always Magritte. Dylan, always Dylan. Sinatra, always Sinatra. Hendrix, always Hendrix. But Lennon, curiously, was at least half a dozen completely autonomous, highly stylized artists. He even looked quite different year to year. Like the lizard on a window pane from Happiness is a Warm Gun, John was certainly a man of many colors, though at the end the unhappy truth is that they all bled together, turning a confused, muddy brown, a story still yet to be told. Upon reflection, it may be that the bigger part of everyone's existence is that which they leave behind. For most of us, that probably means a couple of kids, some vague memories, and one or two outstanding debts. But for a man like Lennon, the list is obviously a little longer. In fact, conceptual though it is, there are still so many significantly affected by his challenging words and music that I have titled this collection Imagination, in honor of this borderless collective of kindred spirits. They might also be called Lennonites, I suppose. Anyway, as John once said, I hope someday you'll join us. Brian Epstein, though invaluable to the Beatles in the early years, was quite frankly rather a pain in the ass to the boys as time went by. This because of his unhappy homosexual relationships and losing bouts with alcohol and drugs. In this telling piece, Lennon comments on the fallout of Eppie's untimely death.
I don't think of him very often, you know. I mean, he's missed when we realise we have to think about all the business things, you know. But I'm one of those out of sight, out of mind people, really. You know. I've got a built-in resistance to sorrow. You know, I forget things the next day, which is lucky. I remember odd things from way back, you know, but really, I've got a good sort of whatever it's called, you know, the buffered, protective thing in my mind. I just hopped into this bag with Yoko,
is it?
And it's, you know, it's always changing. So we just keep changing our bags, but if the bag gets bigger, that's the bit. That's the bit, you know. I mean, I got out of one bag, like a Beatle pop bag, and we've said this many times, she got out of her avant-garde bag. We got into a bigger bag, and so there's more room to breathe. And so it's just keep expanding the consciousness of the bag. It's like trying to explain a flower. We know what peace is the opposite of war, you know. We're also talking about peace of mind, you know. So it's a bit hard to define a flower, you know, but we all know what it is.
So peace is a very simple concept, isn't it? You know, if anybody who tries to intellectualize it or something, and then they might just sort of deform the idea, but as long as they're honest about it, everybody knows, you know, really.
See, all we try
Sample complete. Ready to continue?